morning. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Professor Musiera, for your kind words. All what we are doing in the MENA region are all your trainees or, mentors are you and Samad. And I would like to first of all thank Jamal Bilkadir and his team for such a wonderful organization, for inviting me. And we are proud to be here. Again, my topic, as it said, is MENA Roadmap for Better Diabetes Care. So I'll be talking about MENA region per se. It's problem here, changing the slide. Yep, hang on. Right. This is a bit of complicated picture. That's why I've done a bit of animation in it. The center will come in the last. This is IDF, Global Voice of Diabetes. This document I was introduced by my president, Professor Namchu. And what we did then is try to replicate the same model for IDF MENA care. So all activities which are labeled here, I'll go each by heading. So for example, we start with what are we doing as regards prevention and access of diabetes care in our region. We have got very active associations in our region which are working for prevention of diabetes, just to name a few, like Saudi Arabia, Algeria. In Sudan, they have got a tremendous program, especially of prevention of blindness, and they train optometrists, and they've got mobile eye clinics, and I have always have high regard for Professor Al-Toum, and I'm sure he must be sometime sharing his project for prevention of blindness. We in Pakistan have been pioneering prevention of amputations. So we have got a network of 115 diabetic foot clinics, which we are planning to extend to around 600 clinics in the next 2 years. And in these 115 clinics, the amputation rate have already halved by the grace of Allah. But now we are using a pan-Pakistan model, and I suppose many of people in our MENA region can use it. We have developed a National Advisory Diabetic Foot board, and this meets every Wednesday. And so this is a virtual meeting on cloud, on WhatsApp, on Skype. You share your complicated diabetic foot cases, and we advise from Karachi, the board sitting here, Pakistan, and we are going to assess and present shortly the reduction in amputation rate only by a virtual board meeting. Then we have started to say, and this is again pertinent to many countries in our region, that one is reduction of amputation, but more important is reduction of the ulceration in the first place. So prevention of diabetic foot ulcers. For this, we are right now running a project with the courtesy of World Diabetes Foundation. It is called Footwear for Every Diabetic. Any diabetic which walks up in the clinic get his foot pressure assessed and get a footwear, customized footwear delivered as per his requirements. And this footwear is being manufactured locally by in-house built services. So it's not a franchise that you go and buy. Previously in Pakistan, we used to get through private sector and franchises, customized shoes costing around $100 plus. Now our shoe, which we are developing, is $10. And so we have trained Pakistan cobblers, basically, to make the shoe, their foot care assistants to measure the pressure, and we are now having 10 centers in Pakistan to supply these customized shoes. And we are expecting to publish data as regards prevention of diabetic foot ulcers in the first place. In MENA region, I'm proud to say that there are many colleagues who want to work with diabetic foot, especially Nizar Al-Bash and Hanan Gavish, etc. They did a very successful workshop in Mansoura. We are going to hear something more about the diabetic foot later this afternoon. And I hope that many of our member associations will try to replicate the diabetic foot program in their countries. Second is education, and we all know that diabetes education is an important cornerstone for diabetes management. We have activities done very actively in Bahrain, in Egypt by all the 3 member associations, in Jordan by Nadima and her group, in Iraq, in Qatar, the famous or the old and well-known Al-Bawasil camp. In Yemen, our friend who could not make it this time, unfortunately, because of the visa issues, Zaid is working on diabetes education. We started with a diploma in diabetes education, and that's a degree we award. And we have got a network of diabetes educators, and we are an IDF Center of Education and Excellence. In the past, when there were, in 2009, only 6 centers of diabetes education, we were proud to be part of it, and then 8. And now, as IDF has willingly launched a program that each member association or each country may have a center of education, so we are proud to be part of it. This is the summary of the educational activities, and as my previous speaker was emphasizing on lifestyle changes and diet as the cornerstone, we are now thinking of and looking for programs like Healthy Kitchen, Healthy Cooking. We do a conference each year in which we teach people how to do healthy cooking. We have come out with a recipe book, a recipe which has low calories, high fiber, but the same taste what the nation and the taste buds are used to it. Next is epidemiology, a very important and pertinent issue, especially in our region. We have done this survey, which is National Diabetes Survey of Pakistan with the collaboration of Ministry and Pakistan Health Research Council. Only on 3rd of July, which was 2 days earlier, we got the news that it is accepted for publication in British Medical Journal. And the numbers are very high, unfortunately. So newly diagnosed diabetes, 7.1%, known diabetes, 19.2%, overall diabetes, 26.3%, and if we include prevalence of pre-diabetes, which is 14%, then the nation is really having 40% plus glycemic dysregulation. Now, on one hand, these numbers are surprising, and many people in the hall may be saying that, do we have such high numbers in any other area or country, etc.? My reply to this is that we need real, proper epidemiological surveys in each part of the in each country, basically. Ours is a very strong methodology, the best methodology which IDF Atlas Committee has approved. There are 5 ways of doing screening. The best is still the OGTT, which we have done, and compared it with HbA1c, which we have already done, 10,800 plus sample, truly representative of rural and urban, rich and poor communities, etc. So with these numbers and taking this platform, I would request our Honorable President, Professor Namchu, to kindly consider MENA region as one of the highest with diabetes, and to then allocate resources, strategies, policies, etc., diverted to mainly MENA region. Some member associations have already taken our survey protocol and to start in their countries, and I, being now part for the next 2 years in IDF Atlas Committee, I'm quite happy to share the epidemiological methodology, biostatic support, etc., if we are planning surveys in our member associations. Advocacy, and a lot need to be said about advocacy, and I'm sure that people in the room will be hearing in the next 2 days about various masters or champions in advocacy. Afghanistan is working with Ministry of Health. I know Iran, unfortunately, again, Iran friends are those who could not make it to the meeting. Both member association colleagues, Hormuz and Amir, but they have done a lot of work in advocacy with their ministries involved. Only yesterday, I was in Cairo attending the WHO Emerald region meeting, and many of the health indicators, many of SDGs, many of diabetes, hypertension, NCD targets, they are met successfully by Iran in our region, in which many of our countries, especially Pakistan, Afghanistan, Yemen, are still lacking. So a lot to be learned by them, and perhaps their main role is through the mobilization of their parliamentarians, ministry, government, etc. Sudan, I know my friend Al-Toum has been himself in government for so many years. I'm sure still the government is listening to his voice all the time, all the while, and has got calendar full of advocacy. And we all need to learn from successful models in our region. Humanitarian is something, it's depth of a heart, it's a grief, it's a sorrow, and it's a fact that the most affected region in the world is our region. You talk of Yemen, you talk of Syria, you talk of refugees in Lebanon and Palestine. So the most affected region is our region, and we all are understandably working for it. In our part of country, Pakistan, we had children dying, not getting insulin, can't afford it, or wasn't accessible. So in our province of Sindh, we have developed, and Sindh, by the way, is 40 million population. So I was just talking with my Libyan friend Suleiman on the way. He's got 7 million population, and now our province of Sindh, only one province out of 4, 40 million population. We have started this project, which is called Insulin in My Life, with the collaboration of WDF to start with, but now we have got donors and philanthropy sustaining the project for the last 10 years. And here I'd like to say that any project we plan or any idea we get, the proposal shall be such that it shall include a column on sustainability. Unless we are making the project sustainable, long-running, continuity, cross-financing, we lose the spirit and we lose one way or the other. So we are proud to say that this is a sustainable project going on for the last 10 years. We got international recognition for it. For Palestine, as I said, and I'll like the attention of Professor Namchu here, that still in Gaza, we need insulin, which we are trying to, through your help as well, through many other colleagues. But I already received a message from my colleague Abu Halawa, who could not make it to come here, that still in Gaza we are unable to provide insulin for our type 1. This is a WDF agreement which was signed by Nizar and myself as the chair. WDF has agreed to fund for the refugees, Syrian refugees in Lebanon. There is some nitty-gritty of transfer of funds, etc. I understand that IDF Central Office has kindly agreed to facilitate it, and Professor Namchu knows the details about it, and hopefully the Syrian refugees will soon start getting the funding. Now, Diabetes is Disaster Symposium is in Japan in 2019, and NAM has himself developed disaster management guidelines, I understand, with Linonji, etc. I would very much like to get the document, and what we need to add on it is man-made disasters. Man-made disasters. One is natural disasters, but we are struggling in our region, as I said, and keep on saying, with man-made disasters. So we need to add the element in it, and I wish some of our colleagues could attend this Diabetes and Disaster Symposium, especially people like Nizar Al-Bash and those who are in the disaster committee themselves. They shall make point to be in Japan next year to attend the meeting. There is a development committee which is led by Andrew Bolton, and 7 regional chairs are committee members. We need 3 colleagues from each region, including MENA region, to help the regional activities, and we can decide tomorrow in the regional council meeting. Yesterday, as I said in Cairo, there was a presentation on WHO medicine kit. Now, this is a very exciting prospect for me, and I understand that Yemen has already bought it. This is a kit, they call it NCD emergency kit. It includes insulin, metformin, sulfonylurea, ACE inhibitor, statin, calcium channel blocker, thiazide, aspirin, few inhalers. It is for 3 months, for 10,000 people, for $15,000. So it costs $1.5 per patient for 3 medicines for all NCD management. This is something I have checked with the WHO colleagues. They are quite happy to receive our proposals where there is emergencies. And again, I would like to have attention of people like Nizar, and I'll pass on to Abu Halawa, and then many places like in Yemen. We need to have these kits from WHO shipped there. 10,000 people for 3 months is a big supply, especially including insulin, including the expenses of the cold chain. And it's only $1.5 per patient then for 3 months. Right. As regards policy and programs, we have taken a lead in a sense that in Pakistan, with the mentorship of Samashera and Diabetic Association, we have developed Diabetes Registry of Pakistan. Now, if we are talking of millions of type 2 diabetics, this is obviously almost next to impossible task, but we started with type 1 diabetes because as per the reports in IDF Atlas yet, we only have 7,000 type 1 diabetics, which once we have started developing the registry is, we have already got 4,000 type 1 diabetics registered in Pakistan, registered with the registry. And by the time next year in Busan when we meet, I'm sure we'll be having something like 10,000 people type 1 diabetes registry. Now this registry is very helpful. We initially had a reluctance that perhaps not many associations or colleagues will be willing to share the data, but no, this has not been proven true, or in fact, good that we are proved wrong. Many people are willing to share the data. We initially had the hesitancy that would the ministry come to support us, and again, we are proud to say that and happy that ministry took it on board. So it's a centralized diabetes registry in Pakistan. This is the registry portal. We have developed application. Online data could be shared for type 1 diabetes. I know Suleiman from Libya will be interested to talk to me about it, and any other who are in the colleagues who will be willing to have diabetes registries in their countries, especially type 1 diabetes. I'll be very happy to share with them the details. So there's a MENA regional plan and timetable, and I'm very grateful to Professor Musi Arab, and I've known him now for so many years that he keeps on in our regional council meeting chasing all of us to have action plans, regional plan. And so this plan committee have made a timetable for 2016 to 2020 with the objectives that national diabetes programs in all countries shall be laid down and then ensured that they kick off and start. One development in this regard has been development of MENA regional guidelines for the management of type 2 diabetes. We were lacking a document which can be said a reference point for the whole region. So this guidelines committee led by Samashera, by the way, Prof. Shera is not here, and he has passed on his regards to all his colleagues, friends, all the committees and organizers here. Inas was a part of it, so was Kamil Salama, who could not make it, Muhammad Hassanain, Hissa, and Misbah. And I had the pleasure to be the facilitator and Ashar as the coordinator. Again, Ashar could not make it for this meeting. So this guideline document is now there. It in fact started in Karachi in August 2016 when I first presented it, and then the document was approved in MENA Regional Council in Khartoum in December 2016, and then finalized and submitted in Alexandria when we were invited by Professor Musi Arab. The latest update is that it is being submitted to Journal of Diabetology by this weekend. And V. Mohan, who's the editor of Journal of Diabetology, and it's a DAS journal, has kindly agreed to publish it as a document, which will be MENA regional guidelines. We have now developed guidelines for blood glucose monitoring, again, customized for our low-cost setting. There are, if you go through literature search for documents saying how to advise for blood glucose monitoring, you won't find a very good document, neither in the region, perhaps, nor internationally, to guide having a consensus statement. Now, this is a consensus statement by the advisory board in Pakistan. And again, I invite our colleagues to consider going through it, because it's published already, that can we make such document for the MENA region. My final parts of the talks are related to partnerships. Role of multiple stakeholders have always been realized. We are at times very good in it, but at times we have deficiencies. We need to involve media, donors, politicians, public forums, etc. I know Jamal Bilkadir is very strong in involving many of the political stakeholders. I always envy him, and I come to Morocco each time, one to attend the meeting, but one to learn from his organization. These are the calendar of activities. Lebanon is very active. In fact, perhaps to a certain extent, I always lag behind following the WhatsApp messages of everyday activities they are doing, and partnership with various organizations, school teams, etc., a sports channel, so I congratulate them here as well. Again, as I said, Jamal Bilkadir and Morocco. We need to involve Ministry of Food, Health, Sports, Finance, Agriculture, Communication. In fact, once it comes to diabetes, it's involving all the ministries. I am now starting to think, is there a ministry which does not have no role in diabetes? Especially with the data I'm sharing, we are having a population of 200 million, and we say 26% of them, adults, are type 2 diabetic. So we are talking something like 40 million plus. For 40 million plus diabetic population, you need all the ministries whatsoever. No ministry can escape that they don't have no role in diabetes. I have been told by NAM that there is a success story with Korea, Cambodia twinning. In fact, not only told, but we had a presentation, and I heard a Cambodian colleague telling about this success story. We requested, and we again request NAM to please share with it. And I, in MENA region, because MENA is a very diverse region. So you have poor people like me from Pakistan. So when I say Pakistan is poor, we know then Afghanistan is also not very rich. And then we know Yemen is struggling, and Syria, etc. But then we have got very good, generous, rich people. And I can see two sitting in front, and I would name them, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Qatar, mashallah, and Morocco, rich by all standards. We shall have twinning projects. You can have manpower or human resource or technical stuff from us, and you can have the money involved. And again, I say, the project shall be sustainable. It's not the policy to push in or pump in money in a project which doesn't work after 3 years. But it shall be a cross-financing model that we shall have projects in our region. We need projects for gestational diabetes. We need projects for non-affording people, for type 1 with insulin. We need to supply medicines to non-affording people. We need to develop infrastructure for diabetes care, etc., etc. And final is presence, what we actually mean by presence. So presence is this, that we share all prevention, education, high prevalence states, advocacy, humanitarian grounds, policy programs, partnerships, that all makes you feel present. And this is our article submitted to Diabetes Voice, or in fact published in Diabetes Voice. I have given the concept of multidisciplinary team approach. We need all to work with us. I would like to finally acknowledge all the international associations and collaborations who support us in our activities. And I'd like to finally thank from my organization, all the national associations who are helping us out, and acknowledge my team, which works day and night, and thank you for your attention.